Bullycide is something that I completely learned last year in March when I was in college. I watched the video, completely shocked that a person who got bullied badly committed suicide. The video wasn't real. It's just actors being the victim and the bullies. But just after watching this video, it just teach me a very important lesson that bullying is way worse than you think it is. Now, you can understand that bullying in other TV shows like Francis from the Fairly Odd Parents but most of your other bullies in other cartoons, they were easily torn down. But they have a reason for that. There's a reason why they don't completely go too far with the bullying in some of the shows. Because if you go too far, words will hurt, you will get completely abused, intimidated, and frightened. To me, the dark side of cyberbullying is probably the worst things that any person will ever go through. And the fact that people outside the internet think that this is the right thing to do, in other words, bullying and completely trolling people on the internet, really shows that they don't know what kind of serious situation that they're going through wherever they do this kind of stuff. And trust me, I cannot tolerate anything with Bullycide whatsoever. It's one of the reasons onto why people completely do a Be a Star program, which I'll get to later, and other communities and donations in order to end bullying once and for all. Even to this day, it's still going on in some way. Now, most of the victims that completely got bullied to death were either called names and got completely abused badly and being down to the point that they're completely defenseless and they don't want to move on with their lives. And I'm not making this up. 8-year-olds completely went through this whole situation. I really hate that. To me, it really shows that most of the situations that the boys are doing are literally making themselves even more worse. I really think that Bullycide is one of the biggest reasons onto why I think that it's way worse than anything. Why? Well, unlike other things, you use drugs and you just do that to yourself, you're usually completely manipulating and controlling someone, and you easily make them completely worse to the point that they don't want to move on with their lives. And believe me, it would never get old, and this would never pass on no matter what. You can easily say that most of the girls or kids who have been bullied painfully really wants no participation with all the abuse. I mean, with people who completely commit suicide due to this, or because the bullies getting away, you know that it's just the one thing. And then people who are just completely are the victims and are completely defenseless need it more than love and respect. Because it really shows that the bullies who are completely abusing them have no idea of what they're going through. Anyway, there was a movie that I watched, and I got it on Christmas of last year, which was in 2018. And it was a really good movie called Cyberbully. I didn't watch this in class, but I did watch it when I got the DVD. I watched this twice, one on the website and one when I got the DVD, which was probably days ago. The story's about Taylor Hillwedge, I think, who got a laptop for her birthday and signs up on a social networking site. She starts to feel alone as her friends completely abuse her and she falls victim to cyberbullying. This is one of the best teen movies ever because they probably want to show people on how cyberbullying can hurt. To me, this is kind of an educational film, but due to the rating. Yeah, I didn't notice that this rating was going to be much higher. I mean, it's a TV-14 movie, but for some reason it's a rated R movie for the most part. Even though there was no anything else other than bullying in there, which is probably what they're trying to do, but that's about it. And during parts of the movie where the victim, Taylor, is completely getting bullied badly, she really doesn't want to move on anymore and wants to commit suicide. Believe me, the worse the bullying gets, the worse the victim doesn't want to live on anymore. And when you see more of this constantly, if I can find it, sorry, it would get way, way, way worse to the point that the boys themselves have no idea what they're getting themselves into. When they don't even use a knife or a gun or anything to take down a person, and they use words as the killer, that's the murdering weapon. You know that this is something that needs to be stopped once and for all, because of what really happened to people who've been suffering through this, are having a very difficult time into moving on and completely ignoring all the bad luck of what's going to happen next. Believe me, I made a fanfic, which is involved the Equestria Girls universe, if you like Equestria Girls, if it's okay with you. Well, a little kid who is an 8-year-old who have completely suffered through bullying, probably the same way, Tyler did, even though that she is 15 or 16 in the movie while Oliver is 8. The main 7, which is the girls, completely saved his life by doing nice things with him, and probably doing other things, and probably show him that there are other people who actually cares about him, other than boys who almost committed him suicide. Even if I'm not the best fanfic writer, especially with my grammar and stuff, I at least try to make some ideas and probably put them into life and to show people who read Wayne Boom's favorite boy, or Oliver's, or Poor Boy's Greatest Saviors, which was originally called, to show some inspiration of what Bullycide can easily do to a person. I was originally going to make a prequel to this, but I'm really not good at writing very heavy, dark, and serious stuff like that. It's way too difficult for me to handle. And even if people would easily have the argument that it's kind of really idiotic, well, mainly from the bullies, that saying that this is a pretty stupid idea by having kids completely getting through these situations, then you really haven't seen any videos that involves any of this situation. Believe me. There were little kids went through this situation and they didn't want to move on anymore. I know I don't have videos to this, but if you have the chance, go check online to see those videos. Just watching those videos really shows. And it really shows that the Bullycide thing is one of the worst things that any world will ever go through. People would easily block them, but they would have another chance into easily hacking someone else's account and completely abusing their power even more as long as they get out of trouble. Anyway, as for the Be a Star thing, which was something that WWE has been doing for about 8 years by now, they want to help everyone in the entire world to save this planet. They want to avoid any crimes of any bullies causing so much destruction to so many little kids who commit suicide. And trust me, I completely on the board that Be a Star is probably the best donation that anyone has ever done for a community to save so many kids from committing suicide. Being a star is probably way better than being a bully whatsoever. And for what the people are going through, I think that people like the WWE and the communities are starting this really can fix so many people's lives and fix the planet if everyone will actually know what they're getting themselves into. And as for bullies, well, they're completely mindless and only care about themselves and don't have a mind whatsoever. I haven't met a lot of bullies, and most of them were mostly my friends, but due to class stuff, I don't want to talk about it. I really only went through the who made fun of me by calling me a catchphrase, which I really found it really irritating. But that's about it. As for the bullies, like, who are just bullying people online by calling them names and completely ignoring the fact that what they're getting themselves into, like making some websites attacking the person, would easily would easily cause some serious suicidal people. I just don't even understand why people completely doesn't understand. I don't understand why bullies don't even understand the situation that they're causing. I mean, sure they don't care, but sooner or later, they're going to bite. It's going to bite them right in the wheel, and everything that they did to the victim will all backfire on them. And if they even have a chance to do any of the communities, they will probably go to jail and probably stay in jail for a long time. Now, people may have the argument that there are other things worse than Bullycide, but Bullycide, in my opinion, is a school thing. And school things, while mostly public, while mostly private stuff, are mostly public things when they leave the school for field trips or any of that kind of stuff. People would easily want to do other things and want to prove to the world that they have a talent that even if it's not for them, it's for someone else. And believe it or not, I'm not making this up. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who is one of the most famous people in the entire world, was a victim of getting bullied. Believe me, even famous celebrities went through this situation. Again, just because they're completely famous doesn't mean that they were always perfect. Again, we went through some tough situations. And it didn't stop The Rock. If he was part of a Be the Star program, which I'm not sure if he is because he's been making movies constantly, he will probably teach kids a story about his past, about Bullycide, or mainly what he's been going through during his childhood. That really shows to me that when you get into these situations, talk to someone so they can help you. And you'll probably feel better and probably learn a lesson to never have any bullies get in the way. Otherwise, your life will be ending way sooner than you think. So that's really all I have to say about Bullycide. There were other ideas I can be talking about, like drug abuse or child abuse, but I've talked about child abuse in my 2 commentaries on Daddy 05, so if you want to see them, go check my playlist of lonely commentaries. And if I'm going to do anything else, it's just of what I'm going to think about what I'm going to say about those topics in the future. But this is something I want to do, but I need time to get some experience on what Bullycide is. To me, Bullycide is really something that needs to end sooner or later. Otherwise, people will commit more suicidal things. And since it's really happening through other schools and states, people will need to think fast in order to have this Bullycide come to an end. Even if bullies really don't care, they need to learn a lesson. Otherwise, prison will be the only option. I really hope you talk to people about Bullycide and completely avoid anything. If you want to know more about Bullycide stuff, watch the videos like I mentioned before. I'm Lonely Fanboy 4 here, and please be very, very safe.